Hi, I'm Cailey, a librarian here at Mentor Public Library.
And I'm Meg, also a librarian, and welcome to this week's edition of All Booked Up with Cailey and Meg, where each time we give you a different book recommendation on a specific theme. Today, we're going to be looking at Ohio authors. So these are authors that were born, raised, or currently reside in our great Buckeye state.
Yes, and there are a surprising amount of authors who have come from our state. So there is a huge variety to choose from for all ages. And all of the books that we're going to talk about today are available for you here at the library or online through Libby and Hoopla.
All right, Cailey, what's your first Ohio author book?
So my first Ohio author is one of my favorites, and I think I have read every book of hers twice, and some of them 4 or 5 or more. So this is Jennifer Crusie. And she is from Wapakoneta and has lived in Beaver Creek and Dayton. And even though it seems that she has moved out of our great state, I'm still claiming her. Jennifer Crusie is known for her romantic comedy books. She was primarily published in the 90s and into the early 2000s. She hasn't written a ton lately, but she does have an active blog in which she says she has other projects and hopefully a new book coming out soon. Her books are filled with realistic characters who have quirks and oddities just like everyone else, and can really be really, really funny. And since I'm supposed to tell you about one of her books today, I'm going to tell you about the book called Faking It. Okay. And this is about the Goodnight family, who own an art gallery in Columbus's German village. And the Goodnight family is a very unique family. Tilda is the older daughter, or not really the older daughter. I think she's the one who takes care of everything for the family. And she's always the fix-it. She's always the one who solves the problems and helps everyone get things straightened out. Her sister is going through some stuff, really. She has a sort of alter ego who only comes out on weekends. And her mother has been running the gallery since their father died, but she's just really, like, her heart is not in it. She distracts herself with her various hobbies, as well as a healthy dose of alcohol to get through the days. And so they're just sort of going along here. Yeah. And they also have a basement filled with secrets. Oh. Secrets from the family's past, things that, you know, if they came out would definitely ruin the business as well as the lives of the Goodnight women. And enter Davy, who has come to town because he is seeking the ex-girlfriend who got away with his money. And Davy is a bit of a scam artist, but he's trying to turn right just as soon as he gets his money back, where his ex is now currently in the Columbus area. So that's how, you know, these two interact. Yeah. And once Tilda and Davy get together to help one another with their questionable, possibly illegal endeavors, some sparks fly, and not always nice sparks. So it's a really fun book. It's one of my favorites by Jennifer Crusie. It's filled with humor and just really memorable characters and some great lines. And, you know, all of her books have been great, and I am impatiently waiting for the next one.
Oh, that sounds so funny. All throughout it, when you were describing it, it was just reminding me almost of Encanto, you know, like a family and a house with secrets, maybe with a little romance intermixed, you know, but that's really
absolutely.
So check out Jennifer Crusie. My Ohio author that I'm going to be looking at today is Stephanie Cole. And Stephanie is very close to home. She's actually resides in the greater Cleveland area. She actually was a co-founder of the Northeast Ohio chapter of Sisters in Crime, which is a nonprofit organization that supports mystery writers. So she teaches creative writing classes as well in the area. So she's very active for our community. But recently, she has started a cozy mystery series
Ooh.
called the Tuscan Cooking School series. So the one we're going to look at today came out in 2020. It's the first in the series, and it's called Al Dente's Inferno. So it doesn't take place in Ohio, but we've got our Ohio representation with Stephanie. So this is a really fun one. It's about an American chef, Nell Valenti, and she's offered a chance to move to Tuscany to help transform an aging villa into a farm-to-table cooking school. So kind of almost like a sur la table, only in Italy. So it's so cute. And she jumps at the chance now. So she, moves from America all the way to Italy, but things just keep following her. She can't escape all the stuff at home. So when she gets to Italy, there is a photographer that has been sent to the villa to kind of document the transformation from a little dilapidated little building into what it's going to be, a cooking school. But turns out this guy isn't her ex-boyfriend. What is he doing in Italy? So there's immediately friction and, sparks fly and things like that. There's also a very famous Italian chef that Nell has kind of idolized that she's kind of working with. He may or may not be meeting her expectations of all she's dreamed he was going to be like. So he's there too. But then right before the cooking school opens, the chef goes missing. And its murder is suspected. So all of a sudden, right when Nell was trying to get this dream of a cooking school started, she kind of has to become a private eye on the fly, or else she's going to be suspected of murder. So it's a fun series. I like the Italy setting, and cozy mysteries. Where can you go wrong with that?
That sounds really fun. It kind of has Hallmark vibes to me.
It does.
What a coincidence. Yay. But I kind of love those coincidence things that occur in a lot of those cozy mysteries.
Yeah.
And coincidence of all, I have a cozy mystery author. So my next Ohio author is Vivien Chien. Okay. And she is one who has visited our library a few times, in fact. And so, we have gotten to meet her, and she's really fun in person as well. And her book series is called the Noodle Shop Mystery. And she is a Cleveland native, and her books take place in the Cleveland area. And I think she's up to book 8 now. So I'm going to tell you about the first one in the series, because it's always best to start at the beginning. But this is still a relatively new series. All of the books have just come out within the last 10 years or so. The first one in the series is called Death by Dumpling, and it follows Lana Lee, who never thought she would be back working for the family business, a Chinese food restaurant, but she had nowhere else to go after her life sort of imploded. She had a terrible breakup and quit her job, and so back to waiting tables it is. It isn't so bad, aside from the fact that her mother is on a mission to see Lana married soon. But once the property manager, Mr. Feng, turns up dead, seemingly murdered by someone who knew that he had a deadly shellfish allergy, it gets a little more interesting for Lana at home. And she tries to find out who would have wanted him gone. Is everyone in the restaurant a suspect? And why does that cute detective keep turning up to pick up takeout food?
Ooh.
So this is a fun one. I think it's such a fun series. Each title has a food pun for the book, which I love, and is one of those hallmark things we love of cozy mysteries. But following Lana as she helps solve the murders with a detective is just a really joyful type book.
Love it. Yeah. And almost like Murder on the Orient Express, like, what restaurant person is, a suspect or guilty? Who could it be? I love that. Also guaranteed to make you hungry, as these often do. So, I'm going to read it for that, Sounds good. So my final Ohio author is a pretty prominent one, I'd say, in contemporary book fiction today, Celeste Ng. And technically, she was not born in Ohio, but at the age of 10, her and her family moved to Shaker Heights. So she falls into the category of raised. So that's why she was raised in Ohio, in a sense.
We claim her.
But we claim her. We claim you, Celeste. But yeah, she has won a lot of awards for her fiction. She actually has one coming out this October, Our Missing Hearts. So that's going to be a big one. It's the first since the one I'm going to be talking about today, which is Little Fires Everywhere, which came out in 2017. So she takes quite a while to perfect her fiction, it seems like. So Little Fires Everywhere is one of her most popular books that she's come out with. And it is actually set in Shaker Heights in the late 1990s. So our book today centers around kind of two families and the way they intersect and how things happen. So the first family is the Richardsons, the kind of main character that in that family that's focused on Elena. And she is very focused on organization and things going the way that she wants to, and her perfect image of, her and her family's life. Well, then a mother and daughter move to the area and rent a house from the Richardsons, Mia and Pearl. And this family causes a lot of changes in the whole community because, we'll see how things happen. I don't want to spoil too much, but eventually old family friends of the Richardsons attempt to adopt a Chinese American baby. A custody battle erupts that dramatically divides the town and puts Mia and Elena on opposing sides. So suspicious of Mia and her motives, Elena is determined to figure out more about secrets in Mia's past, and this obsession can lead to dark and dangerous places. So, it's kind of a psychological, kind of dramatic fiction, a lot of things I think she covers in this book, but really just an interesting page turner. And I think this author is one to look at in the future as well.
Absolutely. And I know that this book in particular got a lot of praise, but I've read this one as well as her first book.
Okay.
Everything I Never Told You.
Yeah.
And both of the books really dive deep into the behind the scenes of the perfect family kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think she does a great job of showing how, everything can be seemingly perfect on the outside, but you don't know what's going on in those families behind closed doors.
Absolutely. Oh, and one thing I did forget to mention is 2 years ago, this book was adapted into a Hulu miniseries with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington. So if you like those, check that out too.
Yes. And it's always good to read the book though, right?
Yes, I know. As our last video, we did book to movies. So we always recommend reading the book first, but I just want to let you know about that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoy checking out some of these local authors that we've highlighted today, and check them out at the library. And we'll see you next time. Happy reading.